A special honor given to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Chris has the latest coming up in our lead report.
And Padres fans have something big to celebrate for the first time in years. Assad will have more in sports.
A major studio has set back the release of an anticipated movie title yet again. Ben will tell us all about it in entertainment.
Finally, fall has arrived, but as a rise in temperatures is expected, how long until the heat returns? Jesus breaks it down in weather. Newscene starts now. Welcome to this edition of Newscene. I'm Noelle Mortensen.
And I'm Devon Doane. We continue to work remotely to bring you the latest news of the week.
Thanks, Devon. We start tonight with a look at the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on San Diego County. Sadly, more than 200,000 deaths have occurred nationwide due to COVID-19 as of now. 171 new cases were confirmed on Thursday here in San Diego. 6 new COVID-19 deaths were reported in the county, bringing the total county death toll to 773.
And tonight, protests continue in Louisville and across the country after a grand jury declined to charge police officers with the murder of Breonna Taylor. The jury did indict one officer involved in the raid for recklessly shooting into a neighbor's home, but no one was injured. Over a dozen protesters were arrested last night for unlawful assembly after violating the curfew that was put in place in Louisville.
And closer to home, 2 active duty Camp Pendleton Marines are facing conspiracy to traffic drug charges. Arrests were made after a Marine who bought oxycodone laced with fentanyl died of an overdose in May. 3 civilians were also arrested. Charges include selling to both military members and civilians. In other news, the nation mourns the loss of an iconic figure in women's rights. Here to tell us more is Chris Lefall.
Thanks, Noelle. It has been a week since the nation lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She was a champion of women's rights and a trailblazer in the Supreme Court. The life and legacy of Ginsburg has been celebrated in Washington, D.C. and beyond this week. And today, she lied in state, outside the U.S. Capitol, a first for a woman. It is an honor typically reserved for representatives, senators, and presidents. It's just the latest history made by the justice. Ginsburg co-founded the Women's Project of the American Civil Liberties Union during the 1970s.
Among the words that best describe Ruth, tough, brave, a fighter, a winner, but also thoughtful.
She argued landmark cases on gender equality before the same court she would eventually serve on. Her fight even benefited men suffering from discrimination. She was later appointed to the U.S. Supreme Court by former President Bill Clinton in 1993.
Was consistent, and she did it in a way that was level-headed and on the level and respectful of different opinions and the other judges on the court.
Before Ginsburg, state-funded schools didn't have to admit women. Women couldn't serve on juries and needed a male co-signer to even open a bank account. But for all Ginsburg accomplished, her death has Republicans scrambling. They want to fill the seat vacated by Ginsburg before Election Day. President Trump says he will announce his Supreme Court nominee tomorrow. We'll continue to follow this story. For Newscene, I'm Chris Lefall.
Thank you, Chris. Such an iconic figure leaves big shoes to fill, and that will be a topic of discussion in the presidential debate this Tuesday. Joe Biden and President Trump are set to face off in their first debate at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. The debate is set to cover key topics such as the candidates' records, the economy, and their plans for the Supreme Court. You can also expect racial injustice, the integrity of the election, and of course, COVID-19 to also be discussed. The debate will begin at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and can be watched on any major news outlet and YouTube.
And now Californians waiting to get unemployment will have to wait a little bit longer. The state's Employment Development Department is putting together a 2-week pause on reviewing new claims. The goal is to improve efficiency and clear a huge backlog of applications. If you need to file a claim, visit edd.ca.gov for more information.
And a recent audit of the UC system has uncovered some disturbing finds, and UCSD is in the mix. A 76-page report released Tuesday has revealed that a student was admitted to UCSD on an athletic scholarship, but that student never participated in athletics for the school. The report says a board member used their influence as a favor to a friend, and the report states that student wouldn't have been admitted on merit alone. On to Major League news. The San Diego Padres have just clinched a spot in the playoffs. Assad, how long has it been?
Well, Devon, after 14 long years, the Padres are back in the playoff picture. The clincher game came against the Seattle Mariners last Sunday in a 7-4 victory. MVP caliber performances by Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado have led the Padres to this point. Their first postseason game will be held on September 30th at Petco Park in a best-of-3 series. And now in NFL news. The league is now hunkering down on their mask-wearing policies after Week 2 of play. Head coaches of the New Orleans Saints and the Las Vegas Raiders have been fined for improper mask use on the sideline. The NFL has fined the coaches $100,000 and $250,000 to their respective teams. These coaches added themselves to a growing list who haven't followed the protocols correctly. And now for the NBA, Commissioner Adam Silver isn't rushing the league back to the court just yet. His best guess is the upcoming season won't start until 2021. Silver says the league aims to play a full 82-game season with playoffs when it does return. The original plan was to have the season start on December 1st of this year. One downside to the late start, the later than normal tip-off likely means that most of the top players will miss next year's Summer Olympics in Tokyo. We'll just have to wait and see what that does to the Team USA roster. And now, one of the greatest to ever play the game in basketball is trying his hand at a new sport as an owner. NBA great and Emmy Award-winning Michael Jordan is buying a NASCAR team. Jordan has teamed up with NASCAR driver Denny Hamlin to form a one-car team that will race in 2021. Bubba Wallace, the only African-American driver in the NASCAR Cup Series, will drive the car. He is currently driving the number 43 car for Richard Petty. Jordan is also the majority owner of the NBA's Charlotte Hornets. Back to you, Noelle.
Thanks, Assad. City College students can now apply for scholarships to cover the cost of this semester and continue forward semesters. Students can apply online at City College website and can still get their current semester paid for if they get a scholarship. Students have to hurry as the deadlines are closing fast. The first one is on Sunday, and the next one is for final submissions will be on October 4th.
And sadly, Marvel fans are going to have to wait just a little bit longer for Black Widow. Ben, is that true?
Yes, Devon, it unfortunately is. Disney has once again postponed the release of Black Widow.
So what are you going to do?
I've lived a lot of lives.
Disney also pushed back the release of Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, along with other films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film was originally set to premiere on May 1st of this year, but the spread of COVID-19 put a halt to those plans. Black Widow is now slated to release on May 7th, 2021. But despite the delay, Hollywood is gearing up to start work yet again. The unions representing casts and crews of your favorite shows and movies have finally reached an agreement with major studios to return to work. At issue was COVID-19 safety protocols. Now there will be more testing, sick leave, PPE, and quarantine pay. Every set will also have a COVID compliance officer. And did you catch the Emmys? Odds are you didn't even know that they happened. Only 6.1 million people tuned in to ABC's live virtual event last Sunday. The broadcast was hosted by Jimmy Kimmel and featured acceptances in the nominees' living rooms and backyards. But even the socially distant show couldn't mask its poor ratings. It ranked as the least watched Emmy ceremony in its 72-year run. This beats out the record set by last year's Emmy ceremony, which in contrast had 6.9 million viewers. But the people who did watch are still talking about the biggest winner of the 2020 Emmy Awards, Schitt's Creek. The Canadian series swept all 7 of its nominations, a first for a comedy. Not only did it take home all the acting awards, but also honors for directing, acting, and comedy series. It was a huge boost for Netflix, which recently announced the final season will stream next month. That's all I have for entertainment. Now, back to you.
Thanks, Ben. And even the most efficient gas-guzzling cars may soon be a thing of the past. Governor Gavin Newsom says California will halt the sale of gasoline-powered vehicles in 2035.
You can still keep your internal combustion engine car. You can still have a market for used cars. You can still trade and transfer those cars. We're not taking anything away.
The announcement comes as automakers work to speed up timelines on eco-friendly vehicles. The regulations will only impact the sale of new gasoline models. Older used models will be continued to be sold.
We may have seasonal temperatures, but the heat will make a comeback along with gusty winds increasing fire danger. Jesus, tell us more.
Thank you, Noelle, and happy Friday to all of you at home. And let's talk about weather because we do have a lot to talk about, so that way you can plan ahead for your weekend and for next week. With our weather headlines, we do have seasonable conditions. They won't last long because we do have a return of the heat, and with that we do have also a return of fire danger, so we have to be very careful out there. Did you know that 90% of fires are caused by humans? So be very careful when you're smoking or throwing a cigarette butt out there, because it can spark a wildfire. For current temperatures would be right in the smack over a seasonable average high of 77 degrees with plenty of sunshine and clear skies. For our mountain communities, it will be 80 degrees, clear and sunny skies as well. Good news is that the sea breeze has pushed all the smoke away from the smoke source, allowing for the air to purify or to have better air quality in our area. So if you're doing exercises or outdoor activities, make sure you're staying hydrated. Hydration is key. Our national forecast, we can see a lot of rain for the southeast of the United States as we have this cold front pushing south. This cold front is creating a lot of rain, so we have to be careful with flooded streets. Now let's go all the way to our west coast as we have a series of low pressures. This series of low pressures, it's what's giving us the seasonable conditions or fall-like weather conditions. But everything will change as a high pressure will make its way to our area by the end of the weekend into next week. This high pressure will elevate or spike up those temperatures, bring down the humidity, and those winds will start to pick up, and that it's all ingredients for fire danger. For tonight, temperatures will be also in the average low of 60s. For the mainland, temperatures will be in the upper 50s. So it's nice night to actually open the windows and let the sea breeze in. Here's our extended forecast. Notice how Tuesday and Wednesday temperatures will be on the rise. Back to you.
Thanks, Jesus. Sounds like good surfing weather. And speaking of, a Brazilian woman rides her way into the record books this week. Maya Gabeira rode a 73.5-foot wave, the world's largest wave on record. Engineers at Scripps Center of Oceanography calculated the height. The previous record was only 70 feet. This changes the criteria for measuring waves in men's competitions and sets the bar higher for sports overall.
Wow, that's an impressive record. Thank you all for watching. Have a great weekend.
And remember to follow SD City Newscene on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. That's all we have for tonight. Good night.